Hello and welcome. Woof, 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 woof.
Good.
This is all me woofing. This is yet another of your favorite Star Trek watching podcasts, A Star to Steer Her By.
Woo.
Here we are. Y'all remember, as is usual every week, this is Ames.
This is Caitlin.
This be Jake.
This is Chris, and special guests, Ember.
Woof, woof, woof.
Aww. Woof, woof.
Yeah, sorry in advance for all of the obnoxious dog noises. Hopefully they don't pick up too much. I don't know if you can hear her now. She is currently barking in another room.
Yeah. Caitlin is dog sitting. There's only so much we can do.
Woof, woof, woof. Meanwhile, we are here doing the Star to Steer Her By thing, as we do. This week is episode number 296.
Woof woof! I mean, hooray!
Woof woof!
Woof.
It's a good time. So the episodes this week, oh boy, this week is History is Irrelevant Week, which is fun.
One of my favorite types of weeks.
The episodes are going to be Voyager episodes One Small Step and The Voyager Conspiracy.
Coincidentally, history is irrelevant was my major.
Well, because you were a classics major, so that makes sense.
Yep.
All right, let's talk One Small Step, because we got some fun stuff to talk about this week. All right, so we have the Voyager comes across a new space visual effect. This is the Graviton Ellipse, which was last known to have nommed up the Ares 4 in the fast approaching year 2032. So look forward to that. I'm watching the Ares program very closely. We learned that the Ares 4 was an early Mars mission, and our good friend Lieutenant John Kelly, played by Phil Morris, who we've seen before and adore, he was orbiting in his little command module like you do, and he suddenly just disappears, stranding his other two astronaut friends on the surface of Mars for like 2 weeks. Sorry guys, I'm getting big For All Mankind vibes up in here. Watch For All Mankind, it's fucking excellent. Anyway, Chakotay is a huge fan of the Ares 4 program, and basically shoves Paris out of the way to be history boy for the week.
Yeah, it was really weird.
It's like, this feels like a Paris episode, but I accept this. Let's go find the capsule. Yay! And we'll bring Seven along too, but just to show her that history is cool. So we find the module, and we're trying to tugboat it back, and this field of dark matter, which is a thing, it fucks up the Delta Flyer royally, and it's all Chakotay's fault for valuing history in the first place. How dare you? So Seven needs to go over to the Ares 4 to find some space MacGuffin to fix the flyer, and she streams John Kelly's latest podcast episodes on SoundCloud, where I know you're listening to this podcast, so make sure to like their podcast too. And they're really heart-wrenching moments from Phil Morris's last logs, and very sweet. Enough so that Seven decides, hey, history is cool, so I brought you back this mummy as a present. Let's give him a proper burial and send him back into space again. Bye! The end.
This episode was so uneven for me.
Oh, yeah?
Like, I think the bit like you said, Morris's bit at the end, really, really beautifully done.
Yeah, and he's a great actor, too.
Yeah, and he's been around since the beginning. He was one of the Miri children.
Mm-hmm.
He has a line in Star Trek 3. He's the one who's like, are we going to get a hero's welcome? He was a Klingon and, not a Vorta, Jem'Hadar in DS9. To date, this is his most recent Trek appearance, but, he's still active. They could bring him back, anytime, get him on any of the good new shows.
I would love to see more of him on Star Trek.
Yeah. But everything around his bits was a little like, eh. Also,
so everything on Delta Flyer, or?
Just everything. Because it was just like, I didn't get why suddenly, like you say, like Chakotay suddenly is history boy. Which, I mean, yeah, they've had before his interest in history in a way, but again, like, they even sort of, like, kind of hang a post on, they
Lampshade.
That lampshade it, where it's like, even Tom is like, aren't I supposed to be the Mars buff? What's happening here?
I knew all this too! Let's fight!
And then, like, the plot only happens because Chakotay is incredibly irresponsible in a way that feels out of character. And
I wonder if this kind of should have been a Tom episode.
Yeah.
right? Like, it felt like all this was originally Tom, but then they were like, it wouldn't make sense. Like, and also Tom, like, should have been like, yeah, Chakotay, the captain said to leave, and she's already demoted me once. So I'm gonna go.
How much lower can he go?
You see, that would have been a great way to do the episode. Is like in the first scene on, we still have the cold open with Mars, but in the first scene on Voyager, it is Tom getting re-promoted back to lieutenant. And then he commands the mission, disobeys orders, almost gets everyone killed, and by the end of the episode, he's back to ensign again.
That might have been better. But yeah, it just felt like there was some weird out-of-character stuff, and it was like, I don't know.
I read an interesting comment from Beltran, who basically, like, he was so excited for this episode, because he's like, oh my god, more stuff for Chakotay to do? You never let me do shit, so this is
more
great.
stuff for Chakotay to do that isn't like...
Building a tub?
Well, just like
whipping his dong
Native
out for
American
first
stuff
contact.
that is, not accurate.
Yeah.
It gives him I appreciate that it gives another side to his character that isn't just like Native American mysticism.
Yeah. I think the thing that really gets me is just, I don't think he'd have pulled that. I mean, the thing, really, at the end of the day, I don't think anyone would have taken these risks.
There should have been a better reason than history is cool.
Maybe B'Elanna, if she was in the holodeck or the holosuite with the safeties off. But it doesn't feel very Chakotay.
Yeah, I wonder if there was something on it that could have been useful for them for a reason.
Yeah, like, even if it just as simple as, like, I get it. Like, this is a phenomenon we never really see. Let's kind of follow it for a bit and take some readings. But I feel like, Janeway wouldn't have gone, oh yeah, let's send a ship in to retrieve this. Like, they don't even know the full capsule's in there at first. They think there's some junk they might be able to get.
Yeah, they might find, like, a small piece of metal that they think is the right one.
Yeah, like, I don't feel like Janeway would have taken that risk to begin with. I don't think Chakotay would have. And again, even after finding out it's the whole capsule, like, even if it just been as simple as it wasn't Chakotay took the risk, it was, oh god, a surge. And that's what sort of disables and traps them there. I'd have been less annoyed.
Actually, yeah, that makes sense. I think that would make more sense.
But again, going in the first place just feels like no one would have okayed this. This is just happening so the episode can happen.
Chakotay volunteered, and I don't think we've ever seen someone volunteer to be the away mission lead before. It's always just been assigned to whoever is the most logical person.
Well, you gotta understand, they all really wanted to do this, except Seven, because she's sensible in this case. And
I think so. Here's how I could see. I think a small change that I question whether this is a good idea, because it does kind of go back to like standard Chakotay stuff. But if the reason why he's so familiar with this particular mission and this astronaut is because the Phil Morris character was like a member of Chakotay's tribe or something, or like was somehow somebody that he was culturally connected to, and like it was significant that he was like one of the first people on Mars and he was a Native American, and that's why he's so significant, and Chakotay knows this, and then the motivation for going in there is to try and like give him a proper burial or something.
Yeah, but again, they would have to know ahead of time that the capsule was intact.
Well, they do know that maybe they go in initially being like, we'll just recover some of the material.
Or study this space anomaly that no one knows anything about.
That was the other thought I had, right? So we know that this thing travels through subspace, and we know that traveling through subspace, you can go great distances in a very short time. So I feel like there's another opportunity there to have it be like, oh, if we could adapt the shields, because like Seven even says the Borg have been trying to adapt their shields to use these things.
Yeah.
So if like maybe they're going in to see like, if we go in there, maybe we can like control it somehow.
This thing has been to Mars before, and that'd be nice.
Yeah, maybe we can ride the wave back home.
That would have been perfect. That I could see that's worth the risk.
Yeah. And then they just happen to find the module.
And all this kind of happens as a result.
Yeah. And then you don't have to have the irresponsibleness of disobeying the order. you could just have it so that like Chakotay's like, you know what, we're here, the capsule's here, let's take it with us. But and like Seven's like, no, it'll slow us down or whatever. And he's like, nah, it'll be fine. And then the thing happens.
Yeah.
And then she can still be mad at him because she's like, I told you not to take the fucking capsule. And because of that, we're now stuck here.
But Janeway doesn't tell him not to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's the part to me that seems the most out of character is that he just blatantly is like, nah, fuck you. I want this toy. I'm taking it.
It did result in a pretty well-acted argument scene between him and Seven. I liked the argument. I felt that was in character for one of them to be arguing for one thing and the other to be arguing for the other. Yeah. Both of them having good points.
Yeah. And I also think, though, that could have been done without the disobeying orders, just by making it like, use your head, Chakotay.
I will say, though, he's like, let's try it without the attitude. It's like, dude, you have potentially killed them. She is not actually an officer. She can give you all the attitude she wants.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing I would say is, although it was well acted, it did seem a little un-Seven-ish. I felt like it should have been more passive-aggressive, the way that she argued with him,
and less
maybe.
aggressive-aggressive?
Yeah, I don't know. It felt a little off to me, but not
But that's
terrible.
her character development, Jake.
I would say I kind of bought it because, like, I feel like within the episode it's been building, she's like, she hasn't wanted to do any of this to begin with. So I can see her hitting a breaking point now of just like, mother, you are all idiots.
But yeah, so that was another thing to Beltran's point, saying like, this could be an interesting Chakotay episode in which he does a disobeying orders thing. And then he says it was very, I don't know, I think it sounded like he was very frustrated that it just turns into a Seven episode like they all do pretty much for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Which I can get him being very frustrated with as an actor who's been like pining for character development.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, especially like they give him an episode that isn't an episode for him, and the bits he is in feel wildly out of character.
Yeah, and the fact that he also has to spend a good portion of the episode on his back, not really involved. The thing that irritated me most, I think, was that the guy has been the corpse has been in the thing for hundreds of years. It's not like it's rotting. I mean, it probably is because now it's exposed to oxygen, but they could put it in an anaerobic environment to preserve it for a little longer. Why the hell couldn't they wait until Chakotay was out of sickbay to hold the funeral?
Oh, the poor thing. He had to listen to it over the intercom.
Oh, that's the thing is, I kind of wonder if it, because they did mention that although it wasn't breathable, there was a nascent atmosphere inside the anomaly. And there were holes in the hull, so...
Yeah. I mean, it looked pretty well preserved. Like, you only saw, like, his hand a little bit.
Yeah. Like, it was shriveled, but...
Yeah, it was just, like, desiccated.
Yeah, you can see the wedding ring.
It wasn't decomposed.
He looked like jerky.
I'm glad...
Delicious.
I'm glad they only showed the hand, because I feel like a worse show would pan over and you'd see the mummified face and maybe some skull, and you'd be like, oh, that was him once. But this way they like let his face continue to be the fresh, pretty Phil Morris face that we love looking at. So that kind of like retains in your mind that this was this man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I liked the touch of having his wedding band on the hand as well, which I thought was like, okay.
Yeah.
Good attention there. And like also because they show us, they show him like talking about his wife or like talking kind of to his wife a little bit, and they show him with the photograph. And I think that like, again, it did turn into a Seven episode because so much of it was Seven learning about humanity and listening to the logs and like that's when she really decides, okay, yeah, I'm with you, Chakotay. We're gonna bring him home.
I will say though that one thing that did feel like a little too much development too fast was the emotional eulogy she gave at the end.
Yeah,
like I mean, again, Jerry Ryan.
Chakotay wrote it for her.
Yeah, seriously.
He couldn't be there, so he wrote her speech.
Yeah, like that felt like that's a little too quick. That's Yankees in 6 or whatever. Take that, Buck Buckeye. You chicken-ass motherfucker.
Bye. One thing that I thought was very funny when Jake and I were watching this episode, and we first see the graviton ellipse, and Jake, being an Italian man, says, "Oh, that looks like a calzone." And I look over, being a Polish girl, and saying, I literally just wrote down, "Oh, it's a space pierogi."
Delicious. Either way.
So we know who we are. We know exactly who we are.
Anybody else think it was super funny that Seven wanted to be a ballerina?
I liked that. That was very
she was
cute.
Cute.
She was what, like 8 or 9? I feel like a lot of,
No, I like that was like a little addition that they like put in. Like, what did you want to be?
I appreciate that it's something that feels like something a kid might think of.
Oh, for sure.
They didn't have her being preternaturally like precocious.
I wanted to be a Borg.
Yeah, I hoped that I would be a member of the collective.
Yes. Anything but a scientist, because my parents made me decide science sucks. Drags you away from home to follow scary robot men.
Oh, one like little IRL kind of thing that I thought was kind of a fun coincidence is they say during the eulogy that the astronaut's full name was John Mark Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't help but think that Mark Kelly is an astronaut.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mark Kelly has any children named John.
But he better get some.
Yeah.
They're going to Mars.
Yep.
Send these children to Mars.
We're volunteering them.
And of course...
the only other thing I was going to mention about the eulogy part is I noticed that they draped the casket in a Federation flag.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, right? Because presumably obviously he wasn't a Federation astronaut because the Federation didn't exist
yet.
We don't know necessarily what nationality he was. He could have been American or something else, but I thought it would like part of me is like, oh, that's kind of touching. They kind of like make him an honorary Federation member or something. But also maybe they should have like draped him in the flag of his nationality. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that would have you would have had to have replicated that. And...
I was gonna say they were doing what they could with what they had on hand.
But yeah, he was. Because I know if you look on one of the screens, it's like NASA/ISA, which I assume is like International Space Agency.
Oh, yeah. ISA. Sorry.
So he's probably NASA.
I mean, I'm guessing American. He's a fan of the Yankees.
Yeah.
So probably, and he definitely didn't have like a European accent. So he's probably either, American or Canadian.
Yeah.
I would guess.
He's got the Buck Buckeye bobblehead doll.
Buck Buckeye was the Kings.
Yeah. Buck Buckeye, who had a pretty good career if he was, 20, 30, what?
32 in this episode.
And wasn't he still playing in 2042?
Maybe he was new then in 32.
Yeah, but he was apparently already a big star.
That's true. But yeah, that would have been funny if it was a Canadian flag, just because, why not?
Yeah.
Canadians get to go to space just like everybody else.
Yay.
I think it would be a good like homage to like, I don't know, famous Canadian Star Trek people like
Shatner and Esri.
And like honestly,
if
they had done that, the entire nation of Canada would have like made him a national hero. Like, because Canada has a little bit, I think, of an inferiority complex in that like the biggest thing is the Canada arm. Are you familiar with the Canada arm?
No.
Mm-mm.
Or the Canadarm? I don't know how you're supposed to say it, but so a Canadian company, or maybe it was even the Canadian government, built the articulated arm that's in the cargo hold of the space shuttle orbiter.
I did not know that.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a really cool thing, and I think there's another one on the ISS as well that they built. So, and it's great. It allows them to grab shit and move shit and put satellites into orbit and all kinds of stuff. But it's like a huge deal in Canada, the existence of the Canadarm.
That's neat. I never knew that.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. I am still so super, super bummed that when I learned recently-ish that they're just going to let the ISS plummet into the sea at some point. Some point sooner than not.
Well, there's already so much garbage in the ocean.
So, also I realized Phil Morris, just another in Voyager's line of collecting Seinfeld actors.
Yeah, Jackie Childs.
Yep.
He's also excellent in Doom Patrol.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's great, and I love him in that. That's what I mean. He's still active. Let's get him onto Strange New Worlds or Prodigy.
Yeah. I mean, we got to get him in there. We got to get Jeffrey Combs. I know Jeffrey Combs was a voice on Lower Decks, but we need physical Jeffrey Combs.
We do. It's not the same.
Well, Jeffrey Combs is so perfect. Just love Jeffrey Combs.
But yeah, so we got to add in, well, I guess, so Clint has already been in New Trek, right? Because he was in an episode of
Discovery. Yep.
Okay, so he's good. He's all set. So yeah, I guess, Phil Morris and Jeffrey Combs are next on the list.
Yeah.
Do it.
Oh, and you know who else we got to get back is Tony Todd.
Oh yeah, TT.
Yeah.
Shit.
Who's Tony Todd again?
Absolutely.
All right, we have not actually talked about the episode in depth in a bit. Should we move on to the next one, or do we have any other?
Let me check. Oh, there was an interesting thing that someone on Memory Alpha made sure to reference, and that's when we're listening to Kelly's log on how things are going bad, and everyone's sad about it. Yeah. And he specifically mentioned something, pilot error. And Paris or McNeil specifically makes like a little extra frown when he mentions pilot error, because Tom's been there before. He knows. He knows how bad things can get.
Yeah.
I really got to say, though, I know, like, they designed the flyer themselves. Why didn't they do something to fix it so that the control panels can't electrocute you? Like, how has Starfleet not figured out how to make a control panel that doesn't electrocute you?
That technology was lost during World War III and still hasn't been recovered.
I guess not.
Look, there's so many types of space energy. You can only shield against so many. It's kind of like when you, it's kind of like flu shots. They have to try to kind of guess which the most common strains are going to be. It's like, all right, what are the most common types of stuff we have to insulate against? And this is, a barely known phenomenon, so maybe it's a whole new type,
If this had been, what was the name of the thing in Generations?
The Nexus?
The Nexus. If this had been the Nexus, they'd have been fine. But the space pierogi, oh god.
Yep.
Space pierogi, I love it.
Just so much delicious potato electricity.
Sounds delicious.
Oh, and the last thing I know, Jake noticed that I wrote down, when Seven is inside the console, booping about, you get these little like sound effects of her mag boot footsteps.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, that sounds weird. And Jake says, no, it makes sense. She's using mag boots. I'm trying to think when we have actually heard mag boots before on the show.
We haven't seen...
Wasn't there an episode fairly recently where we had mag boots?
I don't remember. So the thing is, she's wearing the same EV suit that they wore in
First Contact. So it had mag boots in that. And I don't think we heard them each footstep. We only heard them when they activated and it went like...
Okay, yeah. Well, that's because the outside of the Enterprise is like foam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like, we definitely saw mag boots in First Contact, and we saw mag boots in Undiscovered Country, and I don't think they made noise in there, so.
I don't remember.
Yeah, you might be right. Like, the first time you hear them, it makes sense, because it's like, the activate mag boots. Remember, we're in anti-grav right now, and that must be really fun to act in.
Yeah, I feel like from a sound design perspective, I appreciated the attention to detail of having that noise. I feel like from a sound design perspective, it would have been better if it was like in First Contact, where like maybe when she first beams over, she's floating a little bit, and then she activates the boots and it makes a noise, because it was a little obnoxious having the boom.
It was just a little too loud. I think even if they just mixed it a little differently, it wouldn't have been as bad.
Yeah,
because I was very conscious of it.
Yeah, exactly. I think as an audience, what we needed to know was that there's no gravity, and then she has to use mag boots. Otherwise, people will be writing letters saying, "How was 7 of 9 able to stand upright in the capsule which did not have gravity?"
Yeah.
I liked all the Phil Morris scenes floating around. Those were well done.
Yeah, well, some of them, it was funny because you could tell that, like, it was acting, where he's like doing like, the space movement, and like I imagine because they're all close-ups, right? Because you can't see his feet that are
where the
obviously going to
harness
be
is
on the ground. I don't even know if he's in a harness. I think he was just like leaning forward a lot of those, or like
they're kind of pulling a 60s Batman where the camera was just on its side.
Yeah.
Well, I was imagining him like kind of like Superman'd out on like a rolling cart for some of it too, and like we were only seeing his upper body.
I am willing to bet, though, that enough, even professional astronauts, probably occasionally will just do that, just because maybe they don't even realize they're doing it, but it's so a part of, like, movies, so they just go, woo!
Yeah. His, there was, like, a tool or something that he had that was floating around, and it was still floating in there when Seven was there. I thought that was a nice
I didn't notice that.
That is a good touch. Yeah, this episode definitely gets extra points for Phil Morris.
Yeah.
If it had been anybody else, I probably wouldn't enjoy it.
Yeah, Jeffrey Combs, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true.
Zero G, Jeffrey Combs. Perfect.
There's no segue now. Speaking of Seven getting history entirely fucking wrong, let's move on. Let's move on to the Voyager Conspiracy. Oh boy. Oh fucking boy. Here we go. So, in the Voyager Conspiracy, Seven is putting off playing Caddiscot with Naomi, because of course she is. She says, oh, I found this way to upload literally all of the Voyager logs into my Borg head while I sleep. Neat, Seven. Go ahead. Meanwhile, Voyager comes across our new friend Tash, who's building what I assumed at first was a space car wash. But we learn that this thing is a space catapult because Tash is also far away from his home, and he built this contraption that will, like, boom him back to closer than he is now to his home. And Janeway says, boing, I want that space catapult. Let me help. Here, you can have whatever pieces you're missing, and half my crew, and Neelix's cooking. Could you use a Delta Flyer? So they're working on that. Seven has reabsorbed all of this information now, like the floating brains from the Futurama episode. And now she's able to piece together all the information that everyone else on the Voyager has forgotten by now. And she realizes, oh boy, I bet that catapult that's using the same tech that the caretaker array used is some nefarious bullshit. Something must be afoot. And Janeway puts her hands on her hips like she often does and says, I'll look into this, Seven. And it looks for a while that maybe everything's okay. Tash seems to have a good reason why he's got this shit. He seems like just a nice, fun guy. But Seven realizes she puts up this big corkboard with thumbtacks and string, and she figures everything out. She says, okay, hey, Chakotay, check this out. All of this has been Janeway's plan all along. And Chakotay says, yeah, that tracks. Also, we faked the Mars landing from last episode.
You lying bitch! I love Mars!
John Kelly is actually an alien from Roswell. The windmills are making the frogs gay. And Chakotay wanders off to go sort all this out. He says, some of this sounds right, some of this doesn't. Let me think on this. But wait! Seven realizes some new things. Janeway, come check out my conspiracy wall. So it turns out all of this has been Chakotay's nefarious plan all along to reunite the Maquis and do some nefarious thing. And Janeway says, yeah, that tracks. And also something about Jewish space lasers, and JFK is still alive, and he's a Bigfoot now. Not only is the Earth flat, but space is flat, and that's why we always meet on the same plane, nose to nose.
Ah.
Whoa.
I figured it out. Alright, so what's actually happened here is Seven has gone completely haywire by being completely inundated with all of this information, and it has turned her into a crazed pillow salesman.
Nice.
Until finally she realizes, oh my god, all this was just a ploy to get me and my Borg tech all along. And she steals the Delta Flyer, because you can always steal a shuttle from a ship. Always, always. And Janeway goes over there to try to talk her out of it in an actually really nice, touching little monologue. It was very sweet. And it snaps Seven out of it long enough to get her to sickbay, and we get to go play with the catapult now. Whee!
Yay!
The end.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this episode benefits. Like, I don't know how great of an episode it is, but I think I liked it, and I think it really benefited from aging extremely well.
Yeah, that was so upsetting.
That's true. I expected to, like, I'm not dislike it, but I expected to kind of nothing this episode until we got to the scene where Seven takes one look at Naomi, says, "You're Katarian. Katarians are in the Federation. Katarian sided with the Maquis. Aha, come here, Naomi. I'm going to bring you to my lair." And I fucking cracked up for a day.
So the thing that really, like, kind of knocked several points off this episode for me, though.
Gasp! I thought you'd love it.
There was so much I did enjoy and wanted to love more, but there is no way on God's green earth either Janeway or Chakotay would have humored these ideas.
True.
Agreed.
That bothered the like, I was half expecting it because they were both acting so stupid. I was like, okay, because it was pretty obvious early on. Like, when she said what she was going to do, because I don't think I ever saw this one. I was just like, she's going to fuck her brain up by learning too much kung fu all at once. And yes.
I know all the kung fu.
Yeah, I wish it had been handled a little bit better. Like, what I kind of wish would have happened with Janeway and Chakotay is if they didn't buy it right off the bat.
They went and checked without believing it, kind of a thing. That would be more in their characters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like it plants the seed of doubt.
But that's how conspiracies work, Jake.
And that's how conspiracies work. And then maybe, like, Janeway does something, like, because she just walks into the cargo bay and sees Chakotay messing with the alcove.
Yeah.
But, like, maybe before she does that, like, maybe there's a scene where she's like reading in her ready room or quarters, and she's like, and you can tell she's like reading a book, but she's distracted.
Yeah.
And then, like, she's like, So she, like, checks her logs and, like, checks some of the dates that Seven mentioned, and she's like, okay. And then she does a, like, computer locate Commander Chakotay, and it's like, Commander Chakotay is in Cargo Bay 2, and she's like,
yeah, like, it's the fact that they just both were so credulous about it so quickly. I'm just like, fucking what?
Well, I mean, Seven had all of this proof that at first they say that's conjecture, that's something that you're probably just taking a certain way because you're looking for the answer you've already determined, like most conspiracy theorists do.
Yeah.
But every so often, like, she'd say some specific thing from her list of proof that you could see both Chakotay and Janeway say, "Oh yeah, actually that one makes sense. That one I don't have an answer to. Interesting. Yeah. Maybe there's a seed of truth in here somewhere."
We never did get a good answer as to why they had a tricobalt device.
Tuvok's into it. I don't know.
I like that thing. In reality, it's just like Tuvok likes having them around because he likes blowing shit up. But yeah, that, like, so because they were acting so credulous and all that, I was half expecting it to turn out that her last round of download had been so crazy that we were going to get it was all a dream moment.
Oh, thank God we didn't.
Yeah, that would have been also annoying in a different way. But, yeah, that really kind of hurt the episode for me, though, was just how, again, like with the last episode, they just both felt really out of character. Because even the minute they see each other at the same time and actually talk like adults, they're both like, wait a minute, this is stupid.
See, I did the opposite, and I just went with it. Like, once I saw that this isn't a logical in character episode. This is a comedy episode, and it's one of few comedy episodes I think is actually funny.
Thought about that way. It does work better.
When freaking Seven is like, oh yes, and then Seska impregnated herself with Chakotay's bullshit. And anyone who has any sense is like, wait a minute, that didn't end up being Chakotay's kid after all. That did end up being the Kazon kid. So you see, like, she's getting things wrong, but everyone's so, like, there's so much information being dumped upon you that you miss little things.
Yeah.
It's actually hilarious.
I will say I did love when she was presenting her evidence, because she sounded like a fucking crackpot conspiracy theorist.
They kept picturing... They used, like, little flashbacky scenes that you almost never see in Trek because it was acting like it was some kind of a detective show.
Yeah.
Which is why I thought you'd like it, Chris.
Parts of it I really, right up until Janeway and Chakotay were both just so on board so fast.
That takes you out.
That really fucked it up for me. Up until that point, I was like, this is great. She's scrambled her brain. She's gone crazy. If I could do Photoshop well, I'd slap her head on that Charlie Kelly meme.
Yeah, the Pepe Sylvia.
Yes! I love that episode. It's one of my favorites.
When she was delivering her evidence in that sort of rush, like, fact one, this, no, that very, like... And again, as Jake pointed out, very upsetting how fucking relevant it has still is, if not more so. The line about, like, any truth you're going to be given is just, you're going to find a way to work it into your fucking it's like how, because, anti-vaxxers now, because the COVID vaccines didn't mass murder people, anytime somebody dies of natural causes, they're like, aha, the vax! And it's just like...
Yeah. Well, there's like, I feel like this was so well constructed from a, like, whoever wrote this episode is intimately familiar with conspiracy theorists and how they work, because it was very well put together. Like, even the, like, that particular point about how anything that contradicts it actually serves to reinforce it.
Yep.
That's like a real thing where, like,
oh yeah,
where, like, I've had conversations with people who believe that, there's like some far out theories, about the moon landing, and
these people?
Yeah, I know some people who have crazy beliefs. And they, and you'll say to them, like, yeah, well, the person that made that particular claim was discredited. And here is the evidence. Here is, like, the debunking information. The answer isn't, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, this guy's probably full of shit. It's, no, the establishment put out these quote unquote debunking documentation.
Oh yeah, they doubled down.
Because just to discredit him. I mean, that's exactly what they would do. So it's like, yeah, when people have this, like, conspiratorial thinking, anything that you say to try to deter it is just going to have the opposite effect.
Yeah, one thing
they did a really good job of presenting that in the show.
Yeah, one thing I didn't mention about Seven is she actually does get one thing right initially, yes. And that's that she comes onto the bridge, says, hey, I just installed my new brain activity thing where I can download all the logs, and I realized we probably have a fly infestation because I put together all these clues, all these, like, when you look at all the information together, you see we probably have these, what were they called?
Photonic fleas.
Photonic fleas. Very funny. And they go and they check, and there are fleas. So she was right. So, like, being able to look at Seven later when she's spouting fucking nonsense, and you can say, yeah, but she was right about the fleas.
I now just kind of picture a Ferengi starting a photonic flea circus.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So that actually reminds me of something that's only very tangentially related, but
best kind. That's the best kind of related.
Voyager now has had multiple mini jumps.
Yes.
So they've shaved off 20 years or something
38.
At this point? 38
Wow.
years.
I have the list right here because we had that very big jump from the gift caused by Kess.
Yep.
We had that big jump from Timeless when they went into the corridor. Mm-hmm. And we had a big jump in Dark Frontier from that Borg thing.
Yeah.
And then this one, so it totals up to 38 years plus however far they've been flying just normally.
Didn't they also have a little jump from Hope and Fear as well? Or was that just too little to count?
I do not remember. Or they didn't say how far, for all I know.
Yeah. So it's 38 after the catapult, or before?
Including the catapult.
Okay, so wherever it was before the catapult was probably 30-something years.
Okay.
And they mentioned they'd recently passed by what had been a Talaxian colony.
Those guys get around.
They really spread out very far. Were they like a grand fucking society once that just collapsed?
They're the slaver empire.
Mm. Well, we know from a few weeks ago that the snake people.
Snake people.
The
Voth?
The dragon teeth.
Oh yes.
Oh
okay.
yeah. Oh yeah, they knew of the Talaxians.
They knew of the Talaxians, but they had their corridors, so it's possible that, like, maybe they're responsible for distributing to the Talaxians throughout the quadrant.
Maybe.
Maybe they took some as laborers, or as prisoners or something, and just dumped them around.
Actually, the dirty secret, the Talaxians, or the Talax, whatever they were called, were the ones that discovered the corridors, and then the snake assholes stole them. And that's why they make fun of them so much. They want people to forget how cool they used to be.
It's needless to say, though, like a Talaxian colony this far from their home world would have been disconnected pretty
Completely.
much for centuries, probably.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting with like, you know, how different would they be, and like what would Neelix even be able to like connect with them? Because
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, well, they did mention it was a former colony, so who knows how many are still there.
True.
But they still had that spice he liked, and that had the photonic fleas in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I noticed it's like, whoa, wait, this far out.
Yeah, let me tell you about the Metreon Cascade.
Bad news about home, fellas.
Oh no. We also meet our new friend Tash. I really liked Tash's makeup. I thought that looked
It was
real
fun.
nice with the
It was
spots
fun.
and the funny horn.
I had meant to look him up, and I just did.
Yeah.
He was some random... He was that ambassador Janeway had pissed off by putting her hands on her hips that time.
Yeah, from the Tac Tac.
But more importantly,
Yay!
he was a juggler in
the clown
Cost
episode?
of Living.
Oh.
In the holodeck?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when Waxana brought Alexander to the mud pit.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
cool.
The other weird clown episode.
Yep.
Don't call Waxana a weird clown.
Yeah.
Or Alex.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, I liked his makeup and stuff. He's a fun little guy. This one of you might remember. Wasn't there like a TNG episode or something where somebody was trying to develop a slingshot catapult thing?
Oh god, I don't remember.
Like, wasn't there someone trying to do some sort of weird warp alternative?
Oh, shit. Yes, it was... Oh my god, my brain. There was a weird thing. Oh god, it's really gone. It was a TNG episode, and it wasn't a catapult, it was some strange, like, point-to-point thing. Oh, it's gone.
It was like,
It's
kind
all
of like
gone.
throwing the ship, though, right? Kind of? Or... Because I meant to
It was like
look it up
the
and
B
completely
plot
forgot.
of some weird thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, there's been multiple episodes of TNG where there's like scientists that are doing some crazy experiment. Like there's the one with the Ferengi scientist. Is that the one?
The Ferengi
No, the
scientist
Ferengi-
was going into the sun.
That's right. He
Yeah.
was building the shield for the sun. There was the one with the Traveler. That was like a weird warp
No,
thing.
that was just
modifying the core.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was doing modifications.
This was like somebody that I don't even think they were Starfleet. It was like some other dude was like developing a new propulsion system.
Yeah, but there was some other A plot that took away, and we ended up not understanding what was going on. I don't remember.
Yeah. Okay, but
I
I was
don't know if I'm going to find it quickly either. So
neither. Yeah, but it did exist. I'm not completely daft.
yeah, there was something. I don't remember much about it.
Yeah. So but yeah, I definitely got. I was like, haven't we seen this before? Really, that's what they should be doing now. Is just going to worlds and finding people willing to build them catapults and just build a series of them.
I don't know. It seems like it required a lot of resources and time. I feel like at that point,
Yeah, I know.
just flying along, you'll find something randomly on the side of the road that'll get you there faster.
Probably.
Well, I mean, if this thing had been taken up to its logical conclusion, like, because if it's the same technology that the Caretaker uses, that pulled them literally across the galaxy. I mean, they could, if it was improved, it could potentially get them all the way back home in a single shot.
Yeah, I think the issue really, it sounded like, was just that the power source needed was too elaborate.
Yeah, I wonder what it is about, what was it, tetrion? Was that the word they were using?
Yeah.
Yeah, the tetrion radiation. Like, we haven't heard too much about tetrions. I feel like it's come up, the term has been used before, but I don't think we know a lot about it. But it sounds like not only is it rare, it's also maybe volatile or dangerous. Because he didn't want to tell them that he had it.
Yeah. Well, I think it was the rarity. He was like, people would basically try to steal it from me.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm surprised this guy hasn't been attacked up the wazoo as it is.
One of the things that in the whole conspiracy plot that I appreciated that the writers did was, so Seven, when she's looking at the log from the Caretaker event, she sees that
little blue flash.
Yeah, that little blue flash, and she's like, and it does look like a tractor beam.
Yep.
And it's never explained. Like, they never go back in the show to be like, no, that's this. It was a tractor beam, but it came from this, or it was something. They never, or it wasn't a tractor
that
beam.
got on the lens.
Yeah, exactly. It was, and I love that they did that because so many conspiracy, like real life conspiracy theories, hinge on like a single frame. Like I think of like the Zapruder film and the Badge Man, and it's just like, yeah, it's a Blobsquatch, right? You know, it's
Blobsquatch.
You know, that's an actual term
I like it,
that people use
I love
for like.
it.
Like people look at all these pictures of Sasquatch, you know, supposed pictures of Sasquatch.
I want that on a t-shirt, but it's just a blob.
Yeah, and they're just always just out of focus
blurred
blobs.
out blob.
But like human beings are like pre-wired
To find
with
the
like
connections,
pattern recognition. So it's like, yeah, you see something that could be.
That's why we look at the
tractor beam.
clouds all the time and say, there's a whale. It's always a whale.
Yeah.
No, it's usually a cock. Sorry.
It shows what's
Like
on
a
our
rooster?
minds.
Yeah, a rooster, exactly.
Of course. Yeah, so like we're hardwired to identify patterns, so it's not surprising that we'll see something that, yeah, okay, that does look kind of like a tractor beam. It's got to be a tractor beam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they did it with that. Like I like that they resisted the urge to like try to explain all of the things that Seven found.
Yeah,
because it's conspiracy thinking. There is no logical explanation to it. Like it doesn't matter what that was. You know, like they could have, or like. Another piece that I liked is that there's always like kernels of truth to things too. So the fact that there actually was a Cardassian ship and that the same Cardassian ship was found destroyed in the Badlands. I'm like, that is actually kind of interesting. And like that, so that's a kernel of truth in this whole thing. And so there was Cardassians that we know were there at the Caretaker and that were also destroyed in the Badlands. So they must have been sent back. And maybe there is some kind of thing going on here. Maybe Seska was aware of that, and maybe she got the Maquis because she wanted to get the thing. You know, I don't know.
Here's where all of that falls to pieces. Because if the Caretaker had brought a Cardassian ship out to him to find his mate, how the fuck do you not pick a handsome Cardassian?
Yeah, that's how we know. It's because he wasn't then married to Gul Dukat. Here's my perfect mate. It's Gul Dukat.
I mean, the problem is if you specifically need genetic compatibility, that might have been the issue.
I don't know. Humans turn into reptiles. Cardassians are basically lizardy reptiles, something or others.
This just proves that caretakers are one of the few major races in the galaxy not evolved from the potato people.
There you go.
No, they're crabs.
Crab people.
Everything is crab.
That's what it becomes eventually, from crab to caretaker.
Speaking of sexy romances, we have a couple different little breakfasts between Chakotay and Janeway, and
these are back.
I thought you said sexy breakfast. I thought you said sexy romance. What?
No, the final one actually, like, it was a very cute little breakfast, and the final line of the episode. You didn't poison the coffee, did you? Not any more than I usually do. I wrote down, oh shit, I see why people ship them now. That was very cute.
I liked her mugs. Nice little metal frame around a glass mug. Yeah, that was a fun scene. I do wish they'd be more consistent with those, because those scenes do tend to be fun when they pop up.
That's true.
But they're pretty rare.
It's because they don't want the shippers shipping them.
Fair enough.
But they still are like, but we needed the captain and the first officer to get along.
Yeah, and they have definitely, like, the writers have only themselves to blame because they have seeded romance between them.
Yeah.
Every now and again.
Right. So,
like, if they hadn't done that in the past, I don't know that I would have read that scene I didn't actually read that scene in this episode in a romantic way, but I could see how people could.
Oh, it's just because they have such chemistry. Like, they're both very,
they have really
sweet.
good chemistry, and I just wish that, like, in the past they had never tried to seed that romance idea, because I think it does a disservice to both characters. Because I like the idea that they're professional colleagues and friends. Like, if there's a man and a woman on a show, they don't have to bone.
Please.
Jake, this is TV in the 90s. It was federal law.
Yeah.
It was signed into law by Nixon in, like, 68.
Yep. There you go.
If they're a man and a woman on TV, they gotta bone.
Yikes. Does the fact that Janeway has apparently altered course 263 times sound too low or too high?
Sounds
high.
It seemed perfectly reasonable. It's like a fucking course. These people. Fucking Starfleet.
Because if we figure they're there, like, what? They've been traveling for like 5 years?
5 years, yeah.
So that's like 50, 60 times a year? Somewhere between 50 and 60? I don't know how to math. It's somewhere over 50 times a year. It just
so
seems
like
like...
once a week.
But like, what is considered altering course? Like,
Go look at that nebula.
Go slightly left to avoid an asteroid?
Hey, this guy has a catapult.
Yeah.
I guess I just mean, like, when I'm driving, I probably, alter course 246 times, but that's because you lane change and...
But I think she was specifically saying, like, alter course in the name of exploration to, like, go check something
then she
out.
definitely hasn't done it that many times. That seems way too much.
It's also possible that because, Seven is being crazy at this point, she was, in fact, just adding up, like, every course adjustment.
Yeah, maybe.
They changed our course by 0.03 degrees.
Well, as they point out in Airplane 2, the sequel, a very minor adjustment in space equates to thousands of miles.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
We should do that movie.
Airplane 2?
Forward. Yeah, well, it's got Shatner, so.
Oh God, and
it?
it's in space.
And it's in space.
Shit, Jake found a new thing.
All right, I would be willing. I've never seen it.
I mean, here's the
it doesn't hold up to Airplane 1.
Oh no, I know. I've heard it's not good at all.
It's basically just most of the same jokes recycled.
Yeah, I was about to say you've seen Airplane 1, so you've seen Airplane 2. Like, it's Airplane 1 plus Shatner.
Is Leslie Nielsen in it?
Oh yeah.
No.
Then what's the point?
There's clips of him.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, it's nowhere near as good as the first one.
Yeah.
Well, I would still watch it for this show.
Yeah, it's still watchable.
I've watched worse things for this show, like TAS, the entire series of TAS.
Got nothing. All right. So I picked this for a reason, and I forget what it was, but I also realized. So in One Small Step, we saw Seven in her EV suit with the mag boots and everything.
Woo!
So that means our blogtivity this week. We're looking at all the EV suits from Star Trek. All right, so EV suits, we see tons of them. I didn't include this when we did all of our various, let's just look at uniform stuff, because it makes more sense now, so we're doing it now. So we're going to start out looking at EV suits. You can follow along on our Tumblr page, where all these images are going to be on our blog, sshbpodcast.com. Follow along, pick your favorite EV suit. We're just going to start with the TOS EV suits that we saw in Tholian Web.
Oh boy.
God,
these are top. These are my top pick.
They are
winner.
They're
insane.
So camp. They're the campiest ones.
I love this little Shatner action figure, though.
Oh yeah, there's an action figure that has a pretty good way that they portray all the different tubes and shit on it. I just love how colorful these things are.
Yeah. You've got you got all the departments represented.
Where's I don't see. There's no gold though.
And the action figure, the colors are a little wrong because they're supposed to be purple, it looks like.
Yeah, no, actually, it's purple, orange, and blue, so... Yeah, I was looking at the action figure.
I don't know, I find these absolutely delightful because it looks just like, just a normal spandexy suit that someone created and just attached a whole bunch of weird tubes to with this big, almost like a beekeeper's helmet.
What I love is, like, it has this huge window, so you could see up and in front of you really well, but it still destroys your peripheral vision.
Yeah, and looking down. You can't look down.
I also love that there's that weird attachment next to the helmet that is not part of the helmet, but part of the shoulder array, so when you take the helmet off, it's just sticking up next to your face. And that's definitely not just the action figure, because I remember in the episode at some point somebody does take their helmet off, and it's like that.
Mm-hmm.
It is bonkers.
It almost looks it looks like a whiteout pen, this whole thing.
A little bit. I can see it.
Yeah, sort of does.
I don't know. They made it for one episode, and I feel robbed because I wanted to see these things all the time.
That's fair.
Moving on, and I'm including these because I find it hilarious, because in TAS, they went a different route. Because all they did in TAS...
Oh my god, I forgot about this.
Because they're not going to animate new costumes in TAS.
Yeah,
what do you think they are? Animators or something?
I mean, they did have to add those crazy belts.
Yeah, so they added the belts that just drew like a little highlighter like around your body so that you could say, oh, you're protected from the vacuum of space because you're in this little bubble.
I mean, to be honest, though, I feel like that's how the spacesuits would be in Star Trek. Like, it would just be a personal force field generator. Because we know that on the ship, when there's a hull breach, there's emergency force fields that pop up so that you don't get blown out. So I feel like it would make sense that they would have some kind of, like, maybe not a belt, but like a personal force field generator.
Yeah, it's a interesting sci-fi idea, but just the fact that we only see it in TAS specifically for the animation budget and never again makes me feel a little let down.
I could see still having a physical suit even if you had this technology, because I feel like a suit's maybe a little more reliable.
Your batteries die.
Yeah, I was gonna say all you need is a low battery to fuck up your whole day. Yep.
Or one of the weird and seemingly endless random space bullshits that knocks out power.
Yeah, a strong gust of wind.
Yeah.
Curse you, space bullshits.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wanted to include these, even though they're not really spacesuits, but it's still fucking hilarious.
Yeah, God, I had scrubbed this from my memory like much of that fucking show.
Jumping forward to the TOS films, we see Spock in TMP adorn this, like, gigantic orange bubble suit.
Mm-hmm.
We also see Chekhov in Twok in kind of, like, the nice corduroy version of it.
Well, I think those are just the ones from TMP slightly... Like, they added the handle so Khan could pick him up. But I think it's basically the same.
I imagine it's the same prop.
I do like that Chekhov got his special edition color one, though. I like that.
Mm.
Well, or I guess the orange could be the special edition, but I choose to believe that Chekhov sprung, instead of an extra ham sandwich, was like, no, I look good in brown. It brings out my eyes.
Aww.
Also, this still here is definitely him going, oh no, Botany Bay, oh fuck.
But yeah, these ones certainly feel a little more like we actually looked at real spacesuits and then tried to make them seem future-y by making them less bulky, but still looking a bit more solid.
They look a bit derpy because they don't get to have a neck, so they just look kind of stubby.
Well, it's not just that. They look like wood-paneled, what do you call them? Station wagons from the 70s. Like, Chekhov, they both just look like they're wood-paneled, like, Chevy, whatever.
That's because these are from 1979.
What's interesting, right? So, like, the Spock one makes sense because, so like NASA, for example, you know, they have regular spacesuits that are for just like walking on the moon or going outside while you're tethered. But there's also the extravehicular mobility suit.
Yeah.
That has like its own little propulsion so that you can kind of float around. And that's what Spock's doing. He's outside the ship just flying freely in space. So it kind of makes sense that he has this big fucking pack on because it's got its own little propulsion system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like Chekhov, like, I feel like it didn't need to be that bulky for Chekhov. Now, obviously, they already had the costume, so
that's what it comes down to. Is there was a much lower budget on Twok.
They were gonna just surround them in a little purple line or a little yellow line, but they didn't make any sense.
They could have totally just dug some of the TOS orange glittery hazmat suits out of storage and used those.
Yeah, there you go.
Because it was more a hazmat than a space situation.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because Khan and his people, like, you can breathe out there.
Yeah, they were just being careful. But yeah, considering it's 79, we're lucky they're orange and white instead of orange and avocado fucking green.
Yum. What color was it Terrell?
His was the red one.
Yeah, his was Spock's.
His was Spock's? Okay. They probably just reused the same freaking costume.
Yeah. And Chekhov had Shatner's.
I don't know. I'm just so used to seeing this costume that I'm like, yeah, that's what they'd wear.
Yep.
All right, we're going to jump forward. I forget why I'm doing it in this order, but I am. Oh, because Generations came first. Yes, because Generations, we see the orbital skydiving suits from the cutscene in which Kirk did some skydiving, but that we do get to see in Voyager, so I think it's worth including, because I also think it is very, very pretty.
Yeah, it is pretty.
Yeah, it's fun. You can you get the sense that the tiling is probably inspired by the actual tiling they have on, like, the bottom of the space shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like you can break into atmosphere in this thing without burning yourself up because the suit does that.
Yeah.
You look kind of like a stained glass window.
A little bit.
I was thinking you look like a mosaic, but I'll take
cool
it.
Looking. It doesn't look very practical. From like wearing it around. But I guess, yeah, for its stated purpose of jumping from space.
I mean, that's the thing, any kind of even, like, real skydiving gear, like, you're only going to wear it to skydive.
Yeah, true.
Speak for yourself. I look badass in my skydiving suit.
Fair. But yeah, it's not like, like motorcycle riding gear or something where it's like, on the one hand, it's mostly for protection, but also realistically, you might walk around in a bit, so it needs to kind of walk that line, whereas this is like, you wear this for one very specific purpose and then take it off.
Yeah, once you're on the ground, you just rip yourself out of it.
Yeah. You push a button and all the tiles explode off.
I was hoping maybe it would have like one of those Velcro rip seams, like something from Magic Mike.
Ah.
Oh man, I was gonna go with wrestling, but you went to Magic Mike. Thank you, Caitlin.
Well, or wrestling. Either way, you could be Hulkamania.
Yeah, I also think Torres rocks it. Like, she looks really cute.
Oh yeah, she looks fab. I love the boots. But the boots, like in the picture of Balana, that's like the picture from your game there, Ames,
timelines.
It almost looks like the bottom part of the boot is a croc. It's like a croc with like hockey shin guards or something. Is hockey shin guards a thing? Maybe I mean soccer shin guards, but either way, it's giving me Crocs with shin guards vibes, and I'm here for it.
I think they do have shin guards. Well, I mean,
actually, you know what? It's just the goalie. The goalie has those big ass things, but this doesn't look like goalie pads, though.
The regular players might have shin guards
do.
under their trousers or something.
Socks.
Oh, that's right. They wear those big fucking socks, don't they?
Big fucking socks.
Right.
Yeah, my brother used to play hockey. There are a lot of pieces of equipment you need to play hockey.
Yeah. There's an extraordinary amount of padding,
including a rink.
Yeah, we keep that in your duffel bag. And smoke it. Oh god. Okay, moving forward. We're gonna jump to more stuff from the series, but we first see these costumes in First Contact. These are the EV suits that we see in First Contact, in Deep Space Nine, in Voyager. It's the one we just saw today that Seven wore, and they're very normal looking.
Yeah, I feel like these are the first ones that I've seen that I'm like, yeah, that looks like a practical thing that people would wear.
Aside from the weird Star Wars chiclets on the side of the pants. Like, I don't know what that is.
Those are the controls. That's how they turn on and off their anti-grav boots.
Oh, is it?
Is that what they do?
Yeah, they show them doing it in the movie.
Oh, I thought it was the thing on their arm they did it with.
No, I think they use the one on their legs to activate the boots, and then the one on the arm
sense, yeah.
does maybe they can also control with the one on their arm, but
maybe. But yeah, like, it's interesting because they do seem a bit more practical, but they also do still feel like a descendant of the TWOC ones.
Mm-hmm.
Or the motion picture ones, because they're like, it's like, all right, so they've advanced in tech enough that a spacesuit doesn't need to be as bulky as they are now. But there's still that, like, it's like a sturdy cloth with this weird kind of, like, there's texture. There's those,
almost,
like, cabling. Thank you, that's a good word for it. But the helmets give you a better field of view.
True.
The chest piece is drastically shrunk. So it feels like an evolution of what we had seen before, while also feeling a little more like maybe they actually looked at real spacesuits too and tweaked them.
Yeah, I also think the one that we saw in our episode today in One Small Step, I think Seven was wearing a much more normal one. I think it's the same one that we see in this image from Star Trek Timelines. But I think the one that we saw back in, it was either Hunters or Prey. I get those two confused. I wonder why. I swear hers was like corseted in.
It was. We commented on it at the time.
And kind of upsetting. But I think today she looked just, she was in one of the normaler suits.
Yeah.
All right, moving forward, we're going to jump over to Enterprise. We have a couple different EV suits in Enterprise. The first ones we're going to look at are their normal EV suits. They're really into brown. I don't know why. They loved brown.
Trip looking sassy as fuck.
That what?
Isn't that Trip? Who's that on the left?
Oh.
Yeah, that's Trip.
He looks sassy as fuck.
The drawing of Bakula looks like he's fucking 20. Like, he is not that young during Enterprise. Who drew that?
Someone airbrushed the hell out of him.
It was that woman who was a big fan.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that loony. Yeah. But
but he's 20 and trying to seduce me actively.
I mean, it's kind of working.
It's not doing it for me, but listen, I wish you both the best.
But yeah, they're very brownish, kind of bronzy if the light hits them right. Again, I will give them credit to just looking at them all in a row like this. It does feel like it's in the same vein as the motion picture ones.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But do you
Very
think
similar
these come
helmets.
before motion picture?
Well, in chronology, they're supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. But does it feel like it? Do you think this is the midpoint between the slide we're going to look at next and TMP? Because I think the ones from TOS are just their own fucking thing.
Yeah. I mean, kinda, like, I think, like with anything with Enterprise, it's like, we're trying to look like a prequel to a show from the 60s. Like, the best thing you can do is kind of say they went, look, that is stupid, so let's just design things to look like a prequel to the TOS movies instead.
Yeah.
That
I
had
do think
money.
it would have been, I would have been okay if they had done, like, some homage to the
We're going to see that in Discovery and Strange New Worlds, though.
Oh, yeah, I know that. But yeah, I think if for Enterprise, like, even if it was just like having more colorful tubes or something, I don't know.
It does have a big obvious tube, though, which the other ones
Yes,
don't have.
that's
So there
true.
is that.
Oh, the one that connects to the helmet and makes
Yeah.
it, like, I'm assuming that's their breathing supply.
Probably, which is a terrible idea.
Yeah,
There's
you
a
could
reason
stick
real
that.
spacesuits don't do that.
No, that's true. That makes no sense.
Yeah, it feels like you're going to get it caught on something and
Yeah, but
asphyxiate.
it's great for like a TV show where
Oh, yeah.
where somebody's inevitably going to need to share their oxygen.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's
Yep.
true.
Yep.
All right, the other suit we see in Enterprise is the first flight suit that we see, and I think it is the episode First
Oh.
Flight.
Mm-hmm.
Very clearly just based off of straight up, like, NASA.
Yep.
Like, this is
Yeah.
basically the
Yeah.
outfit they wear in the shuttle when it takes off.
Yeah, these look even older to me. Like they look like Gemini suits, like flight suits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
especially
how
the
orange
helmets,
they
actually.
are.
Yeah. Yeah, like, these things really are less about you can go out into space in these, and more like, if there's a small hull breach, this will protect you till you get it patched.
Yeah, so like there's that's like another spacesuit thing, right? There's kind of two types of spacesuits. There's like the flight suit like this,
Yeah.
which just like has an oxygen supply, but you couldn't be exposed to vacuum with this. And then there's pressure suits,
Mhm.
which is what I think the other ones kind of are, where like you can be in a vacuum with those.
Yeah. But yeah, like a lot of the stuff from Enterprise, like, they're definitely taking more cues from real world NASA stuff
Yeah, I
more
appreciate
blatantly. Yeah, it works nicely.
Yeah, it's a good touch. We're going to
Yeah.
jump forward to very different looking suits. We're going to jump to the Kelvinverse. We have a couple different suits because I barely remember these films, but this is what the internet tells me that existed.
I forgot there was more than one. So.
Starting in 2009, we have
Mm-hmm.
these little suit things that I know we see Sulu and Kirk wear when they jump out of a something or other, and then
Yeah,
Sulu
these are-
does a fencing.
Yeah, these
Yeah,
are,
well, I was
these
gonna
are
say, we
additional
s-
skydiving suits.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, this is the Kelvin version of the orbital skydiving outfit.
Yeah.
And we see
I
the
miss-
red guy in it too, but he fucks around and finds out.
Oh no.
By which I mean, I think he gets incinerated or sucked into
He does.
a-
He opens his chute too late
shit.
and falls into the beam.
Yep.
The greatest part is, I remember when we saw this movie with our old roommate, Pike is sending them on this, like, Mr. Kirk, Mr. Sulu, and our roommate is going, say Ensign Ricky, and, Engineer Olsen, and our roommate goes, yes!
Oh god. Someone's
'Cause that
going
was
to
the thing.
blow up.
That's it, you knew he was doomed because he was a red shirt, and he's Engineer Olsen. We know Scotty's waiting in the wings to replace him.
And further back in the wings, Argyle waiting to replace Scotty.
Oh,
Watching, waiting.
I see in the one of the screenshots that you grabbed, we have a beautiful partial view of Sulu's ridiculous telescoping sword.
We do.
Is that what they're calling it these days?
Again, to quote our old roommate, space fencing.
Yeah, but just regarding the costumes that they wear for this little jump in space thing that they do, I think they're just very, very modern looking. They're like modern space future, and not really. I mean, they have the big obvious delta, which tells you what show
Yeah.
you're watching.
Yep, a lot of cabling though. They kept the cabling thing.
Yeah. There's kind of an almost Art Deco quality to them.
Is it because of the big kind of like stripes across the chest? Like there's this big.
yeah.
It looks like a harness. It looks like you're just wearing a harness across your chest. Is that where the parachute is?
I guess.
Maybe. Yeah, it's
Probably.
I think the parachute like popped out of those things on their shoulders.
Yeah, and then they
Really?
can even it actually fully retracts as opposed to being disconnected because they
Of course.
push a button and it gets sucked back in.
Like a vacuum cord.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or a
it's,
tape
it's,
measure.
It's ridiculous nonsense, but they don't look bad.
No, they look sleek. I actually do like the color blocking because it's nice and slimming. Like, that's a good touch.
Mm.
You love a color block.
Who
I
doesn't?
do love a color block.
But speaking about the coloring, why are they not in their correct? Maybe the movie explained this and I just forgot. But why are they wearing these particular colors? Because Sulu was never. I mean, Kirk was never a blue shirt.
Well, technically, at this point, he was a no shirt because he was in trouble.
Oh, so he just grabbed whatever one was available.
I assume that's the idea.
Mm.
But yes, he in theory should be in gold like Sulu.
Yeah, but
I
they
think
had to have one of each.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think they just had the costumes. Whoever made the costumes made them in these colors, and they're like, fuck it.
Maybe. Yeah.
All right, we're going to jump forward to Into Darkness, where we see Spock is in his volcano costume.
Yeah. Again, a lot of tiling, which
Yeah, say this looks
makes
most
sense.
like the original skydive suit.
Yeah, from
And
the
actually-
orbital thing that Kirk got cut.
it's funny. The tiling and the orange color, it makes it almost reminiscent of those hazmat suits from TOS too.
Oh boy, I think
'Cause
we
they
saw
really
in
made that.
Naked Time.
That and maybe one other, but yeah, the sparkly orange
Mhm.
material they clearly also made the blankets out of.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
I
God.
think they were trying to signify with the look of this that you can withstand really hot temperatures in this thing. Yep, that's what all the orange glass is for. Wink.
Yep,
Yeah.
and also codpiece to protect
I was
your
gonna
bits.
say that is quite the codpiece,
Mm-hmm.
the most reflective codpiece known to man.
Zach Quinto's so happy in that one photo, though. I kind of love it.
Yay!
Yeah, based on those photos, they must not. I mean, I guess it makes total sense. Yeah, that they don't have glass in the suit, and that's probably added later because they need to do the reflection mapping.
Yeah.
It's probably easier to do the reflection mapping on fake CG glass than it would be to do it onto the real glass.
Explain what you're talking about, Jake.
So notice how in the screenshot of him actually in the movie in the volcano, you can see the reflection of whatever he's looking at.
The one in the top corner
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
Okay. With
But if you look
the
at the
lots
pictures-
of orange.
Yeah, but if you look at the picture below, which looks like a behind the scenes photograph, there is no glass.
Oh, because he's
Yeah.
green screened.
because he's green screened. And if he was wearing glass, the glass would be reflecting the green and whatever, is on the other side, which is going to be cameras and people standing around. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense to not actually have the glass if you
Huh.
can
Yeah.
just CG it in later.
And the one where he's hanging, it also looks like he's not got it. Because at first I was thinking maybe they just took the shield off between takes so he could breathe. But
Maybe.
again, and the one where he's hanging and it looks like he's actually filming, it still doesn't look like there's glass there. So yeah, you're probably right, Jake.
Yeah, I wonder if they've got behind the scenes footage of this kind of stuff we could look at.
That would mean buying into darkness, and I don't want to reward them.
All right,
Jake initially said, "Oh, he doesn't have glass on." I was thinking like a transparent aluminum joke was coming or
I
something.
thought that too. That's what I thought was coming.
I was like, okay, I'm ready.
All right, one more Into Darkness, and that's that we
Really?
do this space jumping.
Oh, I
Let's
forgot about
jump
this idiot
from
scene.
ship to ship in these very, very tight fitting little costumes that.
Yeah, this looks like they're what's the speed skating in the Olympics?
Yeah, or
Speed skating.
luge or something, or skeleton. This looks like
luge.
the skeleton mask.
I love that this scene is just Kirk and Cumberbund, but the artist still designed a version for a lady just so they could draw a woman in skin tight shit.
You need to see titties. This is
God,
where the
this
titties go.
I have not seen this movie since we saw it in theaters, and I am dreading watching it again for this.
Well, maybe it will.
Open mind. Keep an open mind. We're watching Picard
it's-
right now, for crying out loud.
Oh yeah, that just started, right? Thursday.
Yeah,
Yep.
at time we recorded, it just started.
The time of
I
release.
won't
It's been
spoil
over for weeks.
the first episode for you yet.
No, please don't.
But yeah, there's just something about this costume, because this one is an EV suit. They do go into space in this one, not
Yeah.
just on planet somewhere or doing a skydive or something. And something about these, they just don't look bulky enough.
No, it's like Caitlin said, it looks like Olympic speed skating outfits. Like, Kirk is about to go represent Starfleet in the Federation Olympics.
A little bit.
Maybe it's what they wear for Parisi squares.
I think we've seen what they wear for Parisi squares, but not in the Kelvin universe, so... Yeah,
that's true.
Maybe.
Yeah, you're right, though. There's a scene in TNG where everyone's just gotten out of a match. I forget what it looked like, though.
All right, let's jump to all the new Trek, because there's a lot... Somehow there's still a fuck ton more EV suits to look at. I apologize this is taking so long.
Every season they design a new one.
They really freaking do, especially in Discovery. Let's start with Season 1 Discovery, where in the first... I think this is in the premiere. We see this massive, massive bubble head on Burnham when she does some kind of a spacewalk thing. And it looks like you just went to like a store that has one of those little vending machines where you can get like a plastic ring or something. That's what her head looks like.
It looks like they fucking gutted a Gundam and stuck her inside it.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, a big Japanese robot cartoon.
Got it.
Like the giant robot cartoon.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't care for this one all that much.
Yeah, the shoulders are just hockey shoulders.
Yeah, it reminds me of something like Casey Jones would wear in the Ninja Turtles or something.
Yeah, it's
yeah, I can see that.
Like, it looks like they were trying to kind of go for a, TOS movie era thing, but it's on steroids.
It's like hyper tall. It's like they stretched it vertically. Whilst the TMP one is kind of like squashy down, you have no neck. This one is like, we have to make sure there's room for her neck. Let's make it really long.
I mean, certainly, it's got a great field of view.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
true.
good.
Yeah, it's probably got the best visibility of anyone.
Any of the helmets. The little, cap she's wearing in the helmet, again, harkens back to, the Apollo days.
Yeah, that I think is a good touch.
Yeah, but it's just... I think, isn't it a mobility suit kind of thing? Maybe that's part of the reason it's so bulky. I think it's got little thrusters all over it.
Might.
Yeah, I vaguely remember her flying through space wearing this.
Yeah, so maybe that's part of the reason it's such a fucking bulked up thing. It's full of fuel and thrusters.
Probably.
But for something that is mobility, it kind of looks like your arms would be constrained by the shoulder pads.
Yeah, you can't reach up.
Yeah.
You'll stab yourself on your shoulder things if you try to reach up.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's exactly right.
In the drawing, she's got the arm up, but I don't know if she ever actually lifts her arm like that in the show, so I don't know if it's actually got the hinges.
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe it's on a hinge. A hingey hinge.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is really form over function in a lot of ways, and you would think...
It's over-designed.
Yeah, exactly. You think that if they were actually designing this for real, it would be designed a lot differently, which could be said of a lot of them, I think.
Yeah.
But this one in particular just looks, like you said, it looks like something like out of a Japanese cartoon.
Yeah, and then it looks like she's just wearing leggings underneath.
Yeah,
like normal leggings.
And like those, like some kind of kink leg holster as well. Like I feel like you see these body harnesses that just have like this sort of short outline.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's just there to like make you say, "Ooh, the booty! Look at that booty!"
Well, and to be fair, it is a nice booty.
Yeah, but I agree. Like most Discovery things, a bit over-designed. Yeah, so now we're looking at the Season 2 Discovery spacesuit, which you can see lots of nods to that Tholian web suit that we saw earlier in our chat. Specifically in that kind of asymmetrical chest piece thing.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah. I appreciate that they definitely drew inspiration from that design.
Yeah.
In the final slide, when I have them all together, look at them like in the same space, because that little kind of like funny shape on the chest, definitely reminiscent of that design.
Yeah. Nice
These are
touch.
also colored by your division. So we see Arium is a blue one. The girl whose name everyone has forgotten.
Yeah.
Nan?
Yeah,
I want to
sure.
say.
I don't know. She's Barzan. That's all.
The Barzan girl. She's in red. Pike is in goldy, it looks like.
Yep.
Burnham, I think, is in silver. I can't
Or
even tell if that's blue or silver.
Yeah. Oh, right, because this was Season 2 when they were still doing the, gold, silver, and bronze departmental colors.
Oh, right, because the Enterprise ship had different costumes than the Discovery ship, so the Discovery ship is different. There's 8,000 different freaking costumes on this show.
Yep. But,
I do like these ones, though.
Yeah, I think these are great, actually.
These are not over-designed.
These are the right kind of design, because it's not just, let's just make it look like another one, but it's different enough from other ones while also still looking practical.
Yeah, and like you said, definitely it feels like they looked at the bonkers TOS ones first and were like, all right, we're not going to use those, but let's try to...
A nod. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a nod to those. I also feel like it kind of has a nod to the TMP ones with the suit, the chest piece, kind of. So yeah, I don't know. I think these ones are pretty good.
I like that it kind of has pseudo pockets where you can keep your stuff on your leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the helmet is the right shape. It's like not too bulbous and not too like stretched out in a weird direction. It looks like a normal helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like it's got decent visibility.
Yeah.
Because looks like you can look up and to the sides.
Some really nice integrated headphones.
Listen to our podcast while you're spacewalking.
Yep.
Yeah, these seem to be like, as far as the ones we've seen, they seem like the most practical because you can still move around pretty well in them, and they got good visibility. And I mean, these look the most like what I would actually imagine if someone said, like, picture a futuristic spacesuit.
Picture a Star Trek spacesuit as well, because I do actually appreciate that we have the division colors.
Yeah.
Where I feel like we almost never, except for in the Kelvin verse, which I think was the other one we saw division colors, or department colors. Otherwise, they're usually just whatever the fuck people decided your costume is going to be.
Yeah.
Neat.
We're going to switch to the future in Discovery.
The future.
The future Discovery suits. And everything in the future just looks like you're a RoboCop or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, these look like the RoboCop reboot suits.
They do.
Or like something from Tron, maybe.
I was just thinking they look like, especially the center, the right side of center one looks like a Tron video game for the PlayStation 2.
Well, I think that's got to be a screenshot from a video game.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's
probably
Star Trek Online. I forget.
Yeah. But yeah, the little subtle lighting looks like this Tron sequel.
Oh yeah, because you got like a little like a V-neck collar, effectively, that's all lit up, and then a funny little underboob blurb.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think it looks neat, but it doesn't look like Star Trek.
Well, it's the future. That's why.
You see, this doesn't look like a spacesuit as much as it looks like armor.
It does.
Yeah.
Right. Like the first thing I think of, especially because the helmet has this little shape, is it looks like one of the Power Ranger helmets.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly is a thing.
And like you'd think,
Quote
like
from Chris.
One of the things that's a big deal in Discovery Season 3 is the smart matter.
Yeah, the programmable matter.
Yeah. So I wonder if the implication is that, these look metallic and they look like they're solid armor, but you still have mobility because they're made out of the programmable matter.
On the right, Michael looks like she's going off to have an Ambo Jutsu match.
A little bit.
I do
The thing is, it looks, I don't know, that one on the right, the one on the left, the one that Saru is wearing, looks like kind of solid armor, but the one that she's wearing on the right kind of looks like fetish attire. Like it looks like it's made out of like vinyl.
I kind of wonder, because I know, I can't think of her real name.
Sanuka Martin Green.
Thank you. Was pregnant towards the end of filming that season. Maybe they had to give her something less constricting.
Maybe.
I wonder.
Like hers was actually made of a more flexible material.
Because it's metallic in color, but the material to me looks like it's skin tight vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it. I'd have to look to see how it moves, and I don't have a video.
It's hard to say from just a picture.
I also wish I had found a full length of Saru because he's got the funny feet. I want to see what they did for his feet.
Crazy boots of his.
They probably didn't shoot him from below the waist.
Yeah. They do still have the departmental colors at least sometimes, because Detmer's got her
yellow.
Well, actually, wait a minute though. No, except they used TNG colors for seasons 3 and 4. So she should be in red?
I don't fucking know.
Mm.
I don't think anyone knows.
Wasn't she? She was like the operations person. That's the yellow shirt. TNG
Oh, yes,
colors.
it is. You're right. Yeah. So, yes, it is appropriate for her.
Yeah, it's funny. While I like that, it's got some light up things, I think it's literally just to show how futuristic-y it is.
Yeah, there's no reason to have a light up V-neck except to look neat.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to find yourself and your friends in the dark, you've got flashlights. You've got your helmet's glowing. You'll find your friends just fine.
But honestly, that's a good point though. Just some extra lighting for the sake of No, you've actually justified it to me.
It keeps her safe while she's jogging at night.
Yes. Yeah. So
here's the thing about the lights inside the helmet like that.
Those are just for filming.
Yeah, because I just think that you would if you did that, you would just have the reflection of your face. Like that would actually hurt visibility.
But they committed that sin in First Contact as well.
Oh,
they had the internal helmet lights.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
None whatsoever.
You would definitely have the lights on the outside of the helmet.
Yeah.
True.
But the camera needs to see your face.
Yeah. So. Yep. That's what that's exactly what it is. And I realized I should have done this in a different order because the Red Angel suit was the end of season 2. But we're talking about it right now because I've done this weirdly. And also because it's a very specialized suit. And the thing is, like, the Red Angel suit itself, beautiful.
Yeah.
I love those wings so much. But I hate this fucking episode so much.
Yeah.
It is a pretty cool design.
It's a very pretty suit. It's very, like, future-y looking, which I get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd also because this one isn't as much a EV suit as it is a time machine. So,
but also an EV suit, I guess. Maybe it's a little. Actually, no, yeah, because they take it into space at some point.
Yeah, well, EV is like extra vehicular. This should be like extra temporal.
There we go.
There you go.
An ET suit.
But you also go into everything in this suit.
Yeah.
It also looks a little to me, and I don't know any of the superhero characters well, so I'm going to say the Wasp, like the Ant-Man Wasp thing. It looks a little like their suits.
It does have an MCU, the Wasp suit look going on.
Yeah. Do they have wings? Does the Wasp have wings?
She does.
Yay!
Ant-Man does not.
Oh, well, there are flying ants.
There are, but
he
instead rides an ant that can fly instead of flying himself.
That
Anthony.
Cool.
Yes.
So Ant-Man isn't so much a man who's an ant; he's a man who's friends with ants.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I've never seen any Ant-Man, so I just assumed that it was like
Batman, but with an ant.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Or I thought it was just I don't know. I thought it was because he was the size of an ant.
Well, yeah, he can shrink down to the size of an ant, and his goofy helmet lets him command ants.
Oh, that's normal.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's very normal. As normal as the Red Angel costume.
Yes.
Cool. But I included that, so we looked at that now. We're going to jump to Lower Decks, where they're just wearing like an Apple accessory.
It's kind of like if Apple redesigned the First Contact suits.
You know what these look like to me?
Have
you seen the spacesuits?
For SpaceX?
The SpaceX spacesuits. Yeah, they remind me of that a little.
But yeah, I get, it's a cartoon. They were like, we need not a lot of detail to have to redraw over and over and over.
Yeah, the one kind of shit thing that I notice from their specific suits, I can't tell what's going on if they're wearing a weird turtleneck, but it just makes it look like their face is floating in their helmet.
I assume that's kind of a piss take of the pointless internal helmet light.
I just think it looks like the sort of muffler style neck of what is it? The Twok Admiral's outfit.
Yeah, for what they need to be, they're fine.
Yeah, I like that their feet glow. That's kind of cute.
Yeah, and I assume the ones that are from timelines here, like those obviously are kind of got a 3D rendering effect
they do,
applied to them. So the ones that are the screenshots from the show are more accurate to what they actually look like.
I'm still very surprised Timelines has decided to include the Lower Decks characters in its game, because they're just the every kind of wrong aesthetic for that game.
Yeah. It's nice try, guys, for trying to make them look
good.
But,
the ships work, but the characters don't.
No.
Jumping forward, here's Prodigy. So we're getting towards our most recent series at the moment. The Prodigy suits, very normal, but I think it's the first time we actually see suits for different body shapes.
Yeah.
They put it on Rock, and it still works and looks like the right suit.
Mm.
They put it on Jankum, and it's like, yeah, you guys are all in the same costume. You're just all different species.
Definitely kind of armorish again, though.
A little bit.
Do you remember, guys, from a few years ago, NASA had announced that they were going to do the first all-female EVA?
Yeah, I remember that.
And they had to cancel it because they didn't have enough spacesuits that were fitted to women's bodies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well
that
done,
was a
NASA.
big thing.
So yeah, so it's like, it's not just a Star Trek problem, it's a real life problem.
Yeah.
Do we count, now that I'm thinking about it, do we count Zero's suit as an EV suit? Considering, I mean, they're always in it, but
Zero can also survive in space outside of it, I think. Actually, no, I don't think we see them do that.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever see a Medusan in space, but I mean, theoretically, the real reason why they wear it is because
it protects everybody else.
Them. Yeah. But and also it gives them arms, which are probably nice to have.
Yeah. It's a slightly different sort of. It's almost a mech, actually. Really.
Yeah. True.
Again, it's Zero is actually in a teeny tiny Gundam.
Yes.
But yeah, just to shed some love onto Prodigy as we do whenever we talk about it.
Yep.
All right, last one. We're going to look at the Strange New Worlds EV suits. They're very, very similar to the Discovery Season 2's, except they've changed the colors a little bit. Because they needed to change something.
Well, they seem to have added department colors.
Well, they changed, like the other ones, the fabric-y bits of the suit were the department colors.
Yeah, and now it's the chest, that's the little chest bit that looks like, now they look a little more like little Tholian web doohickeys on the chest.
This is true. Yeah, these are, because I could actually imagine that these are just a reimagining of those suits, because they got the colorful bit, those suits were fully silver like these ones are, and even the helmets kind of have that wraparound look. They do. The Tholian Web ones did. I still think I like the Season 2 Discovery ones better than these, just aesthetically. But
let's look at them all together. What are you going to say, Chris?
I was just saying I got to see them side by side.
All right, well, here they are. We have our screen where we have all the costumes we've been talking about together. You can now also see them all up on the Tumblr. You can see this particular slide, where now you can more easily compare the Tholian Web costume with the Discovery costume and the Strange New Worlds costumes.
Yeah, I think Jake's right. Like the Strange New Worlds ones are even more directly, let's redesign the Tholian Web ones with money.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there's definitely the inspiration in the Discovery ones as well.
Yeah, I think if we're doing tops and bottoms,
sure.
I think my top would have to be the Discovery Season 2. Yeah, that one. Bottoms, it's hard to say, because I don't think any of them are, like, shit.
TAS. That's not even a suit.
Well, that's the thing. I was not even going to count it.
No,
because
I know.
It's not a suit. But, like, I mean, yeah, honestly speaking, yeah, it's the worst. But just, like, it's totally aesthetically and in terms of practicality, I'm going to have to say my least favorite would be Discovery Season 1.
With the big bulbous head.
Yeah, she looks like a football player.
Yeah, and I'm honestly, I'm just not going to include the TAS one in my calculations because it's not a suit.
No,
that's mostly a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm very torn between Discovery Season 2 and Strange New Worlds because they're both very similar to each other.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a which one do I like the one little thing that's different best, and it might go to Strange New Worlds.
I think I'm going to give it to Strange New Worlds. Myself.
Yeah, I just liked the colored spandex.
That's
No,
true.
that's fair. That's fair. But I don't know, there's something.
It feels like a bigger nudge to the Tholian Web. I'm surprised you didn't say the Tholian Web one, Jay, because I know you love that one.
Oh, that one's great, but it's
I think it's
also
great. I think it's
insane.
fantastic. But yeah, it's not actually that practical.
It is the most costumey one.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to have to give my least favorite to that Into Darkness speed skating suit.
That's fair.
Just because, no, it's not a fucking EV suit, guys.
Yeah, I don't really hate any of them, but I think I'm gonna give my least favorite to Volcano Spock suit.
Aha.
Just, I don't know, it's kind of weird.
You just can't handle it.
The cod piece? Is it the cod piece?
That's its only redeeming feature.
Like in that photo specifically,
it's
like highlighted.
Yeah.
It's got
Like,
lens flare coming off of it.
It's got two right where his nuts are. It's like
Ugh.
ball
That's
has
loins flare.
I love it, Caitlin. That's excellent.
Thank you.
All right, what do you like, by the way?
I don't know. I really don't like the TAS one. Or sorry, TOS, the Spock one.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, I think it looks goofy.
That's TMP.
Oh, well, it's dumb. That one. I don't like that one. Which one do I like? I don't know. I feel like for all that it's ridiculous and terrible, I really do kind of like Disco Season 1 just because it looks so fucking ridiculous. Like in a way, I feel like since it's supposed to be like earlier than TOS, like to me it's kind of like how in Robert Pattinson's The Batman, he like doesn't really know what he's doing. I feel like Starfleet doesn't really know what they're doing yet, you know? And I forgive them for making a bunch of bad decisions.
I mean, that's what Enterprise is for.
I was gonna say, like, I'd agree with that if the Enterprise ones weren't like also quite good. See, I'm looking at it now, and all I'm picturing is like Michael Jackson wearing that in like.
Okay, well
like
now you've ruined it for me. I'm just imagining Michael Jackson wearing that, luring children. Get out of here.
No. I mean, like, I'm like the idea of Michael Jackson, not the actual person.
I actually also kind of do like the Star Trek 09. Like, I don't feel like it's very EV suity necessarily, but I like the design because it's kind of sleek and nice. And for what they're doing, the skydiving whatever thing, it makes sense because it feels like it would be aerodynamic.
Yeah.
And comfy.
It does look real comfy. You can fence in it.
I would like that one to be my pajamas. Zip
Your
me in. I'm
pajamas when you get thrown out
skydiving
of a
into
plane.
dreamland. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I don't like the motion picture one. I really don't care for the Lower Decks one.
Yeah, it seems like they're not like, because usually what they do in Lower Decks is they try to pay homage to something, and I don't see any homage to an existing Star Trek suit.
I think I can see it as kind of an evolution of the First Contact suit in a way.
Yeah, I think that really comes down to just
it needs to be animated.
So yeah, and so many of these suits have so much extraneous blibbery on the outside, and they were like, no, fucking no.
We can't do that much detail.
Blibbery.
Yeah, but she just kind of looks like Eve from WALL-E.
Yeah.
That is true.
That is true. All right, well, let's wrap that up so that we can get on to wrapping things up, because we have more to do next week.
Ooh.
Make sure that you are following that Tumblr, as I said, where you can see all those images, and you can pick your favorite EV suit, and you can go for your own little spacewalk. Next week, we're doing something different, like we do. Our episodes for then are going to be Pathfinder and Fairhaven. So definitely join us on SoundCloud, or the Apple one, or the Google one, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out next week for those. You can also check out all of our other podcast episodes. They're all up there. Listen to them all. Binge them while you're cycling. We also do Facebook and Twitter-ish. That's about it. That's it from me. This has been... I can't think of a good sign-out. This has been Ames. Damn it.
This has been Loins Flare.
Jake.
Oh, and this has been Chris, occasionally accompanied by Ember.
Thank you, Ember.
Woof.
Woof. Mm-hmm. We found him. No, he found us. And he's got a gun. Something happened to Chris.
Because now I'm just picturing Finding Nemo 2. He found us, and he's got a gun. I want that poster.